Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Gotham Chess openings video. Today I'm super excited to share with you a nasty weapon against 1d4 by white. We will be playing e5, the Englund Gambit. The Englund Gambit is super venomous. There's a trap where you're able to win a queen or checkmate your opponent as early as move 8. According to the Chess player database, up to the level of 2,000, about 20,000 people fall into the trap. But before we jump into it, I want to give a quick warning before the higher rated viewers go off to Reddit to complain about me. This opening is objectively better for white. If white is well prepared and knows the critical lines, which I will show you, white will get to a better position, borderline winning according to the engine. But your opponents are not engines, and you will know the best things to do even if your opponents are super well prepared. First, I will show you the theory. As always, the moves are also copy-pasted into the description, and then there are 3 games against subscribers. Timestamps on the video player. Here we go. So we've got d4 and we've got e5, and let me tell you something right now, my beginners and intermediate players, this opening might be a little bit more for you because I guarantee you are going to run into the pre-movers, the bishop f4 players, the London players, and you're going to take that bishop and you're going to be able to piece on move 2. You're welcome. Now, pawn takes e5. When they take, we try to win this pawn back immediately with the move knight to c6, and first I will show you the goodies. If white plays knight to f3, defending the pawn on e5 from our knight, we add an extra attacker. That attacker is added with the move queen e7. Now, there are some lines where our opponent says, you know what, just take the pawn, I don't really mind, and we will look at that, but I am showing you the jackpot, and that move is bishop to f4. A London player will blitz out this move without thinking. Most players will not want to give the pawn back. If they play like this, you play queen to b4 check. The queen hits the bishop, the queen hits the king, the queen hits the pawn. Now, a player here might go, oh my god, my bishop and my king are both under attack. I can't save the pawn. Let me bring my bishop back to d2 and do that. At that point, you will take the pawn on b2, attacking the rook in the corner. Now, at this point, still we're at tens of thousands of players playing the move bishop c3, which defends the rook, and the bishop is defended and attacks the queen, but that move is losing because of the beautiful shot bishop to b4. They can now no longer take our queen due to this. And if they don't do anything, we will take them, so they will play queen d2. And here, chef's kiss, we take. If knight takes, we take the rook. So queen takes, and we sneak in for mate. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have just checkmated a person playing with the white pieces in 8 moves. Now, I told you I would give you the jackpot first. That, I can almost guarantee will happen in some of your games. But there are many, many bridges and things that we need to cross to get there. So, let's back up very quickly. First of all, a few things had to happen. When we gave this check, they block with the bishop, and we go here. Now I will show you the best thing for them to do, because it actually is in this position. Once again, queen e7, bishop f4, check. The bishop comes back. If the knight blocks, you take that sucker. And there's a line, for example, where they go here, which some people get very scared. Oh no! We just slide over, let them take. Because what's going to happen is their knight gets stuck. And you just take in the center. Just take in the center if this were to happen. If they play knight c3 and accidentally blunder their bishop, they might find knight d5. If they don't, beautiful. Boom. Bishop out. Chop that knight. You're just up a piece. Sometimes this happens by accident. If they play knight b5 attacking this pawn, you can just check them. There are a lot of winning situations. You should analyze games after they are done. But bishop d2, queen takes, and knight c3 is the most critical thing. Now here, I recommend bishop to b4, but there is also a tricky move here, knight b4, attacking c2, and many people will play rook c1 here and just forget about the a2 pawn. And now take, and you're chilling. You've escaped all danger. However, the move knight b4, according to computers, is bad because white can defend this pawn not with the rook, which a lot of your opponents might do, so still give it a shot, but with the knight. And if they guard with the knight, then white is just close to winning here because black is just overextended. Which is why we recommend the bishop coming to b4 and attacking this. And this is very scary to the uninitiated, because if they move the knight, you take, and they can't take because you take the rook. And this is just very ugly. Now, you might need to guard this with the king. That's okay. Get used to that. That is completely fine. But, here is the most important. Rook to b1 is the most important move. Now, there is a line here where you can sack your queen. There is, and it goes like this. Takes, check, they have to block with the knight, and you can play either knight takes or bishop takes. And you would say, why would I do this? Because if you were to go here, they can't move their knight because you just go back check and they have to block. So they will play something like e4, okay? to get their bishop out. Great, knight f6. And let's just say we both castle and everybody's happy and we get to this position. Believe it or not, it is shockingly difficult to play this position with white. Like, it's actually not easy at all, especially if they play passively. Like, if after e4, for example, they they play e4, knight f6, bishop d3, castles, and you play like d5 just to get to this position, or d6, and they play knight to f3 attacking you, and you pin them maybe, or play bishop c3. Like, you're down a queen, but it's actually really hard to play this. You'll bring the bishop back to b6. You can pin their knight and put some extra pressure, bring your rooks to the middle, and white has no obvious targets. Believe it or not, this position's actually quite challenging. However, that would be crazy to suggest that you only have to do that. So here I am suggesting for you that after queen a3, you are still doing okay. Now, the most critical move here for white, by far, is the move knight to d5. That move attacks the pawn on c7, that move hits the bishop, and here I recommend bishop a5. And here, the person playing with white needs to know the engine move, rook b5. If they play rook b5 and they are rated below 1200, either they have seen this video or they are cheating. They are using a computer. Double check their account. Or they've seen this video. So if they have like 99% win rate and they play rook b5, it's time to report them. But if they don't, then maybe they've seen my video. Rook b5 is a crazy move. And after takes, king d8 again, there is one final trap, but white is doing okay here. Queen g5 check. The final trap is that after you play f6, they have queen takes pawn, and that is still mate. That mate on c1 is still there. So knight d5 is the best move. Knight c3, bishop b4, rook b1. So white has to know all these moves. And then bishop b5, bishop a5, and rook b5. Now, I have left the moves in the description. It is your responsibility to go mess around, play some practice games, come back, analyze with computer. Don't just look, 7 minutes, watch me play some subs, go play, lose games, blame me. Not my fault. I'm giving you the tools you need for you to do it. Okay? I teach you how to garden, I do everything for you. I leave, you don't garden, there's no flowers. That's not my fault. So, I'm trying to give you as many tools as you will need to play this opening successfully. Now, we go back to d4, e5. First of all, if they don't take, if they play like this, you're gonna have to play chess. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to play chess. You're gonna have to take, develop, normal stuff. But we really should focus on, like, if they take. If they push, okay, bishop c5, develop your bishop. Black is very happy here. The most important thing is takes, knight c6. And, you know, if they don't defend the pawn, for example, like this, okay, then take it. Here you should be familiar with one thing, and that's knight d5. And in this position, you must take this knight. It's check, so they take, and you just drop back. And now you kick the knight out, for example, e4, c6, kick the knight out, knight goes back, knight f6, bishop c5, etc., etc. Life goes on. You also can just play like bishop c5, obviously a good move, knight e7, trying to trade the knight. This line is considered slightly better for white because white has a little bit of a developmental lead. You will see in the practice games later that one of my subscribers does play this against me, but very quickly plays a wrong move, e4. And against e4, we just throw out our pieces. It's a gambit, so you need to get very quick development. And I like to keep these theory portions about 10 minutes long, and I think we're right around that mark. That is the way I showed you the whole trap of the opening, all these bishop b4 lines with queen e7 and bishop here and check and taking this bishop and then keeping the queen safe. If queen d2, again, this is not mates. There's a bishop there, bishop b4. Keep all that in mind. Now you know the best thing they can do, and you know the best thing to do. Now you know how to play against the Englund, because I showed it to you. All the moves are in the description. I'm now going to play a few games against my subscribers. All the tools are there for you. I have not done a massive engine deep dive, but I've given you a solid enough foundation of how to do it. And if you're not satisfied with some of these lines, there are variations where, for example, you can gambit a D pawn or an F pawn. And the way you would play that type of gambit is, for example, after knight F3, bishop F4, you can play like, bishop F4 immediately, you can play F6. There's some gambits where you can play like this. And here's the point. You want to take with the queen. And that would attack the bishop and this. And that's it. If you're unsatisfied with what I gave you or you play it and it doesn't work, there's an extra layer to the Englund where you can just gambit one of the center pawns and then quickly castle your king queen side, take the center space, be down a pawn, but have a lead in development. Now, it is time for practice games. Okay, so it's game time. 3 games, and 3-2 is the format. Obviously, you're more than welcome to play longer games, but I wanted to get 3 games in when I do these videos. I'm playing a longtime subscriber and supporter, Mr. Levy's Lamp, rated 1660, which is the famous rap. And then I will play a 1900. And the reason I start with the higher rated players first is because they like to watch me play these games, and then they prepare. So I started getting the higher rated players first so that they're caught a little bit more by surprise. Okay, so far we have everything that we've prepared for. Knight c3, bishop f4. Opponent plays bishop f4, clearly is familiar with what's up. And plays back to d2. I'm going to play queen takes b2, and let's see if our opponent plays knight c3. Okay, so this is clearly a person who is well prepared in the gambit. Now, knight b4, as I said in the introduction, is possible, but I'm going to play bishop b4. Now, I'm not going to play queen c3 when rook b1 happens. I have some respect for my opponent. I will play queen a3, rook b3, and queen a5. That's what I'm going to play. This you can essentially guarantee. And I actually was expecting that this would happen because I believe that Lamp also has one of my openings courses. There we go. So now we are kind of in that territory where you're gonna have to kind of think on your own, right? Okay, so e3 is played. I'm gonna play knight e7. We're basically waiting for a3 to happen, and at that point we'll take. If not, then we'll just play whatever. We will move on with life. The opponent still hasn't played the pawn to a3. Taking on a2 is a little bit too dangerous. Knight g6 is perfectly reasonable move here to try to just calmly win back this pawn on e5. And if my opponent takes on g6, I will open up my rook. Okay. Still, we can continue very much along with our plan. I'm beginning to wonder if I can just take on e5, take, and the bishop is hit. I actually just think that's completely possible. So takes, and I'm actually even thinking I can take with the queen because my bishop is protected. I really wonder if I can do that. Like, this centralizing of my queen looks very good. But I can also just take with the knight. I don't know, actually. They both look good. Let me take with the queen so I can get my queen. And then maybe I can just go this way. And the thing is, if I can bring back a few of my pieces in castle, I have no problems. So this, and yeah, rook e1 is just way too slow of a move. So I'm getting to a perfectly reasonable position. And that's kind of what I was talking about in the intro, is that, okay, sure, the Englund might be better according to computers, but hopefully your opponents are not computers. So I'm going to play b6, idea being that in many positions you can put the bishop on b7, also something that I covered in the introduction. Opponent decides to take. I don't know, actually, I'm kind of tired and recording this late at night. I kind of just totally hallucinated that this move was even possible. So I just gave my opponent 2 pieces for the rook, which is just not very smart at all. White is definitely a little bit better because 2 pieces are better than a rook. This is why I shouldn't record videos at 9 p.m. But I have no obvious weaknesses, and I'm going to play c5 and d5. So that's what I'm going to play. Absolutely should not have allowed that. I just, to be honest, didn't even realize what the point of that move was. But again, that's why I shouldn't record videos late at night. Checkmate is threatened. I should probably not allow it, so I'm going to play h6. And definitely, I'm sure the engine will say that white is very much okay here, but once I start taking space in the center with my pawns, this cluster is not going to be good. And again, the point of including this game and all these games versus strong players is the fact that even though they are playing the most optimal way, they still might not necessarily convert the advantage. That actually is a fantastic move to play bishop to c3. Wow, that is a very good move. I cannot state enough what I think about that move. Let us play c5, and when the bishop comes, I'm going to go for a trade of queens. And I think if my opponent doesn't take, I will just checkmate. So it takes, right? And we have an endgame where it's rook. It's rook and pawn for 2 pieces. So definitely, like I've been saying, white definitely is better. Knight looks to be coming here. Maybe I continue to take some space with d5. Knight h5, knight f5 are good moves. I'm going to play f6 probably to block the bishop, and we'll see what happens. So rook, okay, I don't like that move. What's the idea of that move? To go here? I guess I will block out the bishop. I don't think I want to make this bishop any stronger, so I will kind of nerf it with my structure. Now I will reinforce this pawn in the center. I would imagine rook d1 is coming, because otherwise the rook is just on a very passive square. Okay, now I think I should go g6. Okay, interesting. Is the idea to go c4? Is the idea to go c4? I don't think I'm scared of c4, but it could very well be the idea. Let us go g6 to prevent the knight from coming forward. I think the idea is c4, and I can't... Oh, the idea is e4. e4 I was less afraid of, because now I can close out the bishop completely. And then I can play rook to e8. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy here. I think this is now a solid endgame advantage. In all endgames, it's about the pieces, but it's also about the pawns. And I think I can just begin rolling the pawns forward. Especially because now Lamp has deactivated the bishop and the knight. Bishop a6 is a very good move. I'm just going to bring my king forward one square. Wow. It's very brave. Let's push the pawns. Maybe f5 was strong there also. Just push the pawns maybe, or c3. Maybe just push the pawns, taking some more space. You see, like, putting the king in the middle of where my rooks are is probably not the best idea my opponent has had. Now the question is, do I play... Yeah, I really like this, actually. I mean, my pawns are just rolling. a5 takes. I don't even think that this trade is beneficial for white at all, because then I get the a-file. Okay, I think I will just go get that pawn immediately. And if I don't get it immediately, I can always put my opponent's bishop in jail, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Now I can also take on e4. So this game was much less of an example of the opening being successful, and much more of an example of the fact that despite the opponent playing the best way, if you play solid and smart, you should be able to outmaneuver opponents that might still play in the best style. And we will analyze, of course. I think I just played d3 and I just barreled down the middle of the board. This bishop is out of the game. It was a nice example of negating our opponent's play while playing on space, playing on kind of momentum. Rook d2, knight c3. I can take the rook and take the bishop. So knight c3 I will take and take the bishop. The knight really cannot do much here. And we are just easily winning. We will analyze this because I am curious what the most optimal way to play that position was. But the reason I didn't take with check is because my opponent would have taken my piece there. Okay, rook takes a4. We now have two pawns. The only thing you need to be careful about is getting forked. Don't get forked and you'll win the game. Two pawns, rook versus knight. And this is easily winning because the knight just cannot stop us at all. b2, rook a1. Maybe Lamp will play on just very briefly. I'm going to bring the rook back to paralyze the king off of the b file, and this is just game over. Let's also not allow our opponent to escape. Ladder mate on c1. Okay. That was a decent game, with the exception of the fact that I allowed my bishop to be captured for absolutely no reason. So, when you go back here, this is everything that we covered in the introduction. The computer will always give white an advantage after a3 takes. But if the opponent doesn't do a3... Oh, interesting. The computer also likes this move, knight d5. Oh, wow. Knight d5 is an interesting move. And the point is that after knight takes, you take on d2. Oh, wow. It's very interesting. That's another way to do it. So knight g6, castles, and queen e5. Yeah, and of course, white is better, according to the computer. It's about +1. But the best way for white to play here is to play the move f4. And so, for example, if I had played knight takes e5 to try to get the bishop, white's best way is again to play this, and if you don't, and I just castle, you know, again, white's entire play revolves around, like, small pawn pushes to take central space, and it's not a very intuitive position to play at all. And you can tell already when we get here, black is already completely fine. And then here I just played an exceptionally stupid move. b6 is very, very bad. That was just me blundering, but there you go. It's an example of recovering from a blunder. a5 would have been better, or just bringing the bishop back. This is obviously not a fork because we're protected. We can just go here, bishop back to here, and then d6, and then expanding, and white no longer has any advantage whatsoever. Game number 2. Let's set this up. We've got the next player. Okay, there we go, Mr. Asterisk. This is a 1000 rated player who knows the Englund Gambit is coming, and said, I'm gonna win in 5 moves. So we will see what happens. Okay, seems like opponent is playing the exact same way. Well, then you guys will get some good preparation. I'm gonna play Queen B4. And then just confirming with the next person that they're playing. And to not go anywhere. Okay, Queen B2, I apologize. Sometimes people volunteer to play and then they just leave. Okay, so of course Knight C3 is the move. Queen B, I mean, I kind of want to play Knight B4 because this person is rated 1000. Do I play Knight B4? Do I play Knight B4? No, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I want to play the best way. I want to show you guys how to play the position, because this is something that you will have a lot. Hopefully not a lot. My subscribers knew that this was coming, so they prepared the best variation. And in this case, you know, okay, we have Queen A5. So in this position, as you remember from the introduction, Knight D5 is a very decent move. Knight D5 is very good there. Okay, opponent is playing... This is the exact same game that we just had, actually. Except in this game, I'm not going to blunder Rook takes B4. So this is what I mean. My subscribers are watching each other play, and sometimes they will be inspired by one another. I think maybe in this game, I'll mix it up. I'll take with the knight instead. Okay, we have the exact same... That's very funny. Okay, let's play knight takes E5. Last game I played Queen E5. This time I'll play Knight E5. We'll just... okay, F4. Of course, I take the bishop, because the less pieces that I have to deal with, the better. Probably short castle is completely fine. Really not worried about this. Now when A3 comes, I begin to think maybe I don't need to even take. I mean, I can, and yeah, now's the question. Can maybe just go to C5. I will take. I don't think it's very good not to take. Very weird position. Like maybe I play. I don't know where do I even put my queen. Very strange position. F5 runs into E4. But then I can like go back. Maybe Queen D5. I don't know. It's actually like a really interesting position. I don't know. B6 bishop B7 is coming. Very good move here. Of course, is Queen G4 threatening mate. Can't really argue with that. That doesn't hang a rook, because that's mate. But I will have to play F6. So, even at the super optimal rate of play, which 2 players have now demonstrated, we are still doing okay. We're definitely not suffering too much. Okay, F5 is something I really would like to play in this position, and I think I will, because number 1, it prevents Queen G4. Number 2, it stops the pawn moving up. And then if I can put the bishop on B7, I kind of like what I got going on. In the endgame, these pawns can be sort of liabilities, because they're just sort of standing around. Of course, still, opponent should definitely focus on the bishop on C3. G4! What? That is a crazy move. Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't want to take. I don't really want to allow my opponent to have any fun. B6 takes... And then put something on B... I mean, that was always part of the plan, so I think we'll do takes, and then Queen F5. Okay. And we are doing okay. This is to dispel the notion that if somebody knows the optimal way of playing against the Englund Gambit, that they're somehow going to get a winning position against you. But you also know that in the introduction, you are more than welcome to mess around with other things. Okay, this is death on the light squares? What is this? Isn't this just death on the light squares? If E4, I just take, no? And then I take and it's mate. Yeah, I mean, if you take, I take and it's just mate. Actually, I think Queen B3 is probably the best move too. I was gonna say to trade my queen, but even if you trade my queen, I'm gonna take and take another pawn. Yeah, and there it is. And this is not stream sniping, because I'm not playing these games on stream. I'm just up 2 pawns. There's nothing you can do here. In fact, I'm gonna pre-move this, and it looks like I blundered, and there's just an X-ray of the bishops. I mean, of the rooks. Oh, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. There would have been rook takes d7. Guys, I gotta apologize to you. I am hallucinating. I should not record videos this late. I should have just played bishop e4 and not done anything fancy. But at least this makes me look a little bit more human. Just advance the pawns now. Bishop is glued in the center. Another game of kind of ending up with our central pawn advantage. d5, rook e8, etc. And then we're good. Maybe... Probably just rook c8, c4, c3, c2. I'm confirming with the next player. And now we have c4. Like I said, sometimes subscribers will volunteer to play and then they will vanish. Also, I actually asked the next person playing to play the other most critical line. So, full transparency to everybody watching. I don't want 3 games of the identical thing. I told the other person to play the most, the other most critical line. So rook d8, d4. And this is just a very easily winning position now. We don't need to d4, c3, and it's over. It's actually a second game in a row that the bishop gets killed. Poor bishop getting killed. I can take on h6. I can also just push the pawn to d3. If takes, I can take. Oh, man. Almost blundered the game there. What is wrong with me today? Well, nothing different than usual, but bring you back and now play rook c2. Yeah, just recording late at night, I guess, is just not a great idea. And now we are chilling. Takes. That's a rook. Here. And this is probably a mate in 2. Ladder. Nice. Okay. Second extremely well-prepared opponent followed the lead of the other player. We got to the exact same position. And I'm actually just... I don't know. Yeah, actually, computer does think I can go back to e7. Funny. Doesn't think that I needed to even trade the bishop. And then you would build in the center and develop your bishop, and you would be doing very well. I took this position is completely equal. So actually, already computer thinks that white even has chances to be better, and white just immediately blunders, and the game is over. So there you go. Third and final game. Hopefully my subscribers haven't prepared some complete lunacy. They're all in Discord on my other monitor, just plotting against me. Just hope for the best. Okay, Mr. I'm Not Angelic, rated 868, 1400 rapid. And here we go. I think, like I said, I suggested a line. I said knight f3, knight c3, which is... No one has fallen for the ultra bait, mostly because I didn't want to make this video... You know, like, okay, you play this, you're going to win every single time. You do have to know how to deal with the critical stuff. If you get a checkmate in 8 moves, you don't need to, like, you understand what I'm saying? If I checkmated one of my subs in 8 moves, that's not impressive. That's just kind of the point of the opening. Okay, bishop b4. And now already we have our pins and all this stuff, all the good stuff. Maybe knight f6, maybe d5, maybe bishop g4. Just get aggressive, get tricky, pressure on the center. A lot of people they get really scared here because, you know, I'm threatening to take the knight and then take with check, and it's, oh my god. In reality, as we know, it can be very dangerous for black to lose that dark squared bishop because the diagonal is so weak. Actually, I would much prefer to play like d5. f3. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff you're gonna get. Like, I don't know what the heck that is. You know, first move out of prep, and our opponent plays a move that we don't know. I'm gonna develop and try to play d5. Okay, well, now I'm not gonna try to play... Am I gonna try to play d5? Actually, I kind of like d5. Because if knight d5, we just win a piece. Since we have a pin. So, knight d5, they cannot take due to pin. And if they take bishop, we take. So, d5 is already very good. In fact, black already might be close to winning here. I just don't think f3 is a very decent move at all. So here is how you deal with this line. And, seem to be alright. I think white's best move is bishop d3. Or queen e2, maybe. Like, yeah, maybe white should try to go queenside. But besides taking in the center, I also might just push the pawn forward. At the same time, I also can just castle. Just castle, be quiet, don't ask any questions. Okay. Will my opponent castle is the question. First of all, why can't I just take? Take. No. Some pin. I can take, and play bishop g... Oh, that is nasty. Take, and bishop g4 is very rude. And if knight takes, I have... Yeah, the pawn is on hanging on b2. I can take on e4. I can take on b2. I have a lot of decent-looking moves. Queen b2 just... Knight e4 first. If bishop b4, of course, I have just discovered check. If bishop takes, I think I can... Yeah, so isn't this just winning a piece? Like, if I play takes... Well, king d2 is possible, but that's kind of ludicrous. Here, f5. Queen d5. Queen e7 should win for me. That looks pretty damn good to me. I don't know, I'm going to take and then play f5 and... Oh, long castle! Oh, I'm off. Oh. Oh. Wow, man, I am my goodness. I am crazy today. Yeah, luckily, guys, I gotta apologize to you. I don't know what I'm doing today. Wow. The opening is decent and the games are decent, but my goodness. Today's quality of play has been suboptimal to say the least. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna fake perfection for the sake of the audience. I am playing I'm just happy I'm... Whew. Wow. Had I not played like a bozo there, that would have been a pretty clean win. Unfortunately, I decided to do that. Here's the good news. You're also gonna make mistakes. I make mistakes, you make mistakes, we all make mistakes. And your opponents are gonna make mistakes too. And now that I've gotten my king to safety, I'm going to trade rooks and just be up a piece in the endgame. Let's take and trade rooks, and yeah, this is an easy win. I have a bishop and Angelic doesn't, so that's probably pretty good news for me. King e7. Bring the bishop back. You might have watched this far in the video and went, wow, Levy got some decent positions, but he's really bad at chess. I'm not going to listen to anything he says. You don't have to listen to everything I say. Most of it would probably be good enough. But yeah, today was a bad day of chess. I mean, I'm recording this video, like I said, quite late, on about 3.5 hours of sleep. So don't play chess like this, but I got to. I'm a content creator. And the good news is the opening positions that we got were very decent. They were very decent. I tried to dispel all the notions about this opening. Now we are repelling the king from moving. A5, A4, and just push. Can bring a second pawn. Can bring a third pawn. The king can go... Oh. Angelic doesn't want to... No stalemate. No stalemate. Still a legal move. No stalemate. No stalemate. No stalemate. Check and the mate with the bishop. There we go. Terrific. Quick analysis of this final game. The opening that we got, so e4 is already a bit dangerous. And after f3, it's already just worse. And here it's bishop d3 and queen e2 were the best moves. Taking on e4 was fine. Also, I could have played bishop e6 and long castle. That actually might be the most critical way. And probably the best. Because again, short castle with this open line. Bishop d6 is coming. Long castle, I mean, yeah, probably I should have just went for long castle, but even here, yeah, computer just likes queen b2. Just keep it simple. If short castle, queen d4 check is very decent, and we're just winning here. Rook f2, I take, can't take pin. If takes, I take the rook. So I should have just taken on b2. Should have kept it simple. I did not keep it simple, and that actually is how you learn your openings. Like that. If long castle here, I would have castled, and white is just better. White is doing well if you trade the queen, so... Anyway, that concludes the study of the Englund Gambit. Listen, I am a big believer in this opening for a lot of people, about 16, 1700 and below. If you'd like to give it a shot and blitz at a higher level, you're more than welcome to. You're going to catch people in the London system, as I said in the introduction, and you're going to really throw people off their game. And if you memorize some of the trickiest and trappiest lines, as well as some of the lines that are supposed to be the best for white, you're going to get very easy to play positions, and I think you're going to have a good time. For the long-term development, also, as I said in the beginning of the video, you probably are better off learning a pretty solid defense with black. But this is a very decent placeholder, and this opening can bring you a lot of quick victories and a lot of just fun, more than anything else. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me. Take care, and I will see you in a future video. Get out of here.